G'day, guys. Welcome to another Dark Cave Miners live stream. How are we today?
Doing well, CW. How you doing?
Yeah,
Another
not too
crazy week
bad.
in crypto.
Oh, you name it. How good is it? Well, what would you rather be doing, to be honest?
I know, right? You can't look for anything like this anywhere else, right? It's you get a little bit of everything when you're kind of playing in the crypto world. So I think it's definitely a good place to be.
Exactly. And so we have yourself, Rob, from GetBlock, and we're special guest today. We have QX, who's one of the developers sort of building out some tooling on the Ergo blockchain. How are you, mate?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on.
My pleasure. So, obviously, you're a little bit of a cheeky character, I might say, by having a couple of little comments slid into the developer update, which I like. I like that little bit of banter throughout the ecosystem. So, Aussies are pretty renowned for that side of things. So, yeah, thank you very much for bringing a little bit of humor into the space.
Careful to open it up for everybody now. You're going to get nothing but dick
Exactly
butts the
right.
whole time.
Yeah. Just a little disclaimer there. There is a time and a place for this banter. Probably the dev update isn't that place. Just kind of keep it above board on that one, a little bit more professional. But yeah, by all means, reach out, and I'm more than willing to have a bit of banter and play within the ecosystem. So
I just wanted to clean it up from the drama that was there the week before in dev chat.
yes, exactly. Interesting times. So yeah, well, how about we just touch on the mining space at the moment quickly, and then we can dive into sort of what you're building and the tooling that you've got going on there. So it's been a pretty interesting week once again when leading up into the Ethereum merge. So we've seen a pretty significant spike in hash rate on Ergo. It's pretty cool to watch, and even the other proof of work coins across the throughout the hang on, sorry, let me rephrase that. Another coins, proof of work coins throughout the industry. So it's pretty interesting times.
It has been very interesting. I mean, I think what we've spiked probably 8 to 10 terahash, at least eight, right? Even within the past week and a half. Um, and I think the most interesting thing of all is that you don't really see a major impact on the Ethereum chain, right?
Exactly.
You look back a few months ago, yeah, and there was a decline, and there's some speculation that, those miners have been out there kind of dabbling in, some of the other coins that are available. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, there's about a week away now at this point. So, they'll be interesting to see what that shift really looks like once Ethereum finally goes bye-bye.
Yeah, I just saw an update recently. I was probably within the last half an hour actually, and just with the current difficulty rate and everything, I think it's on the 13th. So yeah, 5 days, 6 days work, depending where you are around the world. It's going to be utter chaos, to be honest. It's going to be interesting to see how it all the puzzle pieces fall into place.
Yeah, I mean it is, and there's obviously all this speculation. Is it going to be successful? What happens if it's not? Are they going to go back to proof of work? So, it's really going to be, quite a day once this kind of, switches over and everything truly unfolds, right? So,
Yeah, most definitely. And QX, are you a miner yourself?
I sure am. I have a little small rig with 3 cards in it that I mine to, of course, get block. And I'm in the Neta pool.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Rob would have had some stern words with you otherwise, I dare say. No,
gotta
thank
love
you very
get
much
block,
for
right?
your contribution to the network. It's great to see all these home miners and everyone getting on board. It's awesome.
I definitely do it for the security of the network, totally not for the mining rewards. 100% security.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the cool thing about Ergo. Like, obviously, um, I'd say probably that even the last 12 months hasn't been the most profitable coin to mine. And we've had a really great core group of miners who actually believe in the project and have kept their rigs pointed to Ergo. The mining community is really engaged on Ergo.
Yeah, they most definitely are. And like you said, I think there is a core group that, stuck through the lows, the highs, and, back down to the lows. And, here we go again. We're climbing back up pretty nicely. And, I think the miners that sat through, kind of those, the bearish, days, I think that, it's paying off now, right? I mean, even you look back, right? What was it? 2, 3 months ago, I think we were sitting just above $2, $2 to $3
Yeah.
range. And many people can say they had a 100% increase in their rewards if they sat, and held their erg mines. So,
Yeah.
there's definitely some benefit to that, when you mine a coin and you kind of, look at it from a more of a, future standpoint, right? And you kind of, look at it in that sense. I think that understanding the project and really, knowing where it's going, is another way that you can kind of, leverage, the blockchain that you're mining within, and, find some additional incentive there versus just, liquidating immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the important thing also. There's different aspects and different sort of strategies in your mining. Just stick true to what your sort of your strategy itself, because obviously profitability around the world has a number of factors that sort of determine that. Obviously power costs and numerous factors, all as miners all know. So stay true to your strategy and just ride things out, because there are ebbs and flows throughout the ecosystems, and it's just stick true. And then obviously for the most part things do get better for the outside of the pretty dramatic downturn. So things can flip pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before, right? I mean, it's I think the proof is in the pudding, right? Historically, you look at the chart, you look, kind of how things have these even flows, and it's, there's, good times and there's bad times. And, right now it's a little lull period. The whole world is kind of in this, this standpoint. So I don't think you can look at blockchain specifically and say,
Yeah.
Blockchain's going to hell. I mean, look at just, all markets across the world, commodities, things like that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a mess out there, right? So things will get better, and, as long as you can kind of, fight through it, and, keep on keep on mining, keep on
Keep
investing,
on
and,
keeping on.
yeah, exactly. And things will get better.
Exactly.
I think speaking from somebody who has a gosh, what do I average around 450 mega hashes for for my cards, for my mining,
Yep.
so pretty small. I think the thing that really engages me in the ecosystem is that you can do something like a subpool with GitBlock and just get Meta or get ErgoPad, and on top of that, the opportunity to make, in the future, to make utility out of those NFTs that you've collected and get some boost there potentially in the future for that kind of thing. So it's the whole back being a kid kind of thing, where you collect the baseball cards and you collect the other thing with it too. It kind of all bundles together to give you that same feeling as back in the day, as far as that, and you're getting rewards for adding to the security of the network, which is fantastic.
Yeah, most definitely. So you have mentioned that you are a miner QX. So how long have you been in the Ergo ecosystem? Let's get a little bit of history around sort of your involvement within Ergo.
I just
or basically
started on the
blockchain as a whole.
Sure. We can eat up the meter with some history here, no problem. I started out in the gold rush, I'd say, with everybody else that jumped in the GME train. It's GME, right?
Yep.
The game company.
GameStop,
you got it. I didn't want to say the name fully. Don't want to trigger anybody. So I started out with that, just dabbing my feet in there, hopped onto stock that a YouTuber had mentioned, got really lucky, and exited out of Robinhood as fast as I could after they started putting halts on trading, or allegedly putting halts on trading. And then where was the next thing to go to? So, I'd heard about crypto, and I was one of those people back in 13, 14, 2015 that was like, oh, I should buy Ethereum for $4 or $5. It's a KYC system. I can't get on. I don't have my license with me at the time. I'll do it later, kind of thing. Totally miss the boat on that kind of thing. So I was like, I'm not going to miss a boat again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go all in, and I'm not going to miss a boat, because this is going to happen with or without me, and I might as well jump on for the ride, kind of thing. So the first coin I jumped into was ADA. I did a lot of research, a lot of looking into things, and ADA just seemed like the coin that was well thought out. You have Charles, of course, the figurehead there, with tons of formal YouTube videos, informational, that was fantastic. And I started doing that, went really heavily into ADA, and then I started hearing whispers of this amazing blockchain that was, same kind of amazing stuff as ADA, but proof of work that you could mine. And I looked at the price, and at the time I think it was $16 or $15 a coin, and I was like, oh, It's like that's a little steep for me to jump into. Taking your massive amount of ADA at the time and dumping it to Ergo was definitely something hard to swallow. But I did. I made the jump. I jumped in the community, and have loved it ever since. I mean, just like with what is it, Spectrum. When I started trying to get data from Spectrum,
Yep.
just pop online, ask Gaza for some information. Super responsive, super helpful, and that's the way it's been with absolutely everybody. I don't think I've run into anybody that's shut me down or not answered me or not been extremely helpful. And that kind of stuff just makes people stay and makes even the community better.
Yeah, exactly. And I call it the Ergo gravitational pull because there's something about Ergo, the like-minded people. Everyone's willing to help, like you did mention. Everyone throughout the ecosystem, whether you're technically oriented or just a end user who just sort of wants to spread the word, and everyone's always willing to help out. So I think that's a fantastic trait for the ecosystem, and I hope personally that it never goes away. Even just having access to the core devs, you can jump into this development channel and just ask a question, and when they do come up for air, it's not too often, but yeah, they'll always answer a question that or any technical aspect. So it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's been very helpful. I mean, even for us, as we've kind of built GetBlock, from kind of the ground up. I mean, we've always had that, that one, we've had the voice in the community, right? People listen, they want to, understand what we're doing, get more involved. But you also have that kind of, expertise to kind of bounce
Yeah.
your ideas off of, look through your code. And obviously, I think some pieces of that won't be sustainable as Ergo grows, but I think, at the same time, there's community members that are also, absorbing all this information and growing
Yeah.
with the ecosystem. So, it's I think, who says this all the time? Armenio, you kind of, it's kind of decentralizing itself in a way, right? Where you
Yeah.
have, these core devs, but now you have all these community devs that are, just as sharp and just as smart. And, they know Ergo just like, not as well, but almost as well as Kushti does. And it's amazing to just see this evolve constantly, and there's more points of contact with the ecosystem. So I think as it grows, sure, there'll be some dilution, but I think the core group has done a great job of kind of passing that knowledge on, so it just continues to spread.
Yeah, definitely. I say from a developer's point of view, QX, how was your experience coming into the ecosystem?
So I'm not necessarily bumping into the code that runs the blockchain. I'm more of the duct tape and popsicle sticks that kind of piece things together on the outside and brings data to people in easy to reach places.
Yep.
But can I circle back to something that Rob said earlier?
Sure.
Rob mentioned about the community there, and I had this thought the other day. I can't remember who, somebody online, but I really feel that this is essentially the golden era of Ergo dev community. In that, I mean, I was on a random chat in one of the channels that I am in, and I was trying to get some information about something, and some guy started talking to me, and it was very, very helpful. And a couple days later, I noticed him pop up in the dev chat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the creator of the wallet that I use. I was like, what's going on here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And it just made me think, enjoy this while you can, because it is going to get diluted, and the core devs and everybody else are going to be more busy, and potentially the communities are going to get much larger, and you might not have that kind of close to close interaction anymore. So definitely it's a thought in my head to enjoy it while it's there, and everybody that joins on as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Very well put. And the cool thing is, it's the knowledge that they pass on to, like, say, yourself, you can then help others, and it just has that big snowball effect. And that's what I love about the grassroots community. And I actually sort of sent out a tweet. I think it was this morning. I don't know. I lose track of time. Could have been at 3 in the morning for all I know. It's basically around like the benefits of grassroots building, and it might seem slow at the start, and that you might not feel like you're making an impact, and then having and forging your way ahead or anything like that, and you just go months on months on months and just seeing nothing in return. But then all of a sudden, just a little spark ignites, and then before you know it, things are just kind of out of hand, but in a great organized and educational way. And I think that's pays testament to the sort of Ergo community, the way it's been built, and the way that sort of that core grounding and foundation is. You attract a lot of like-minded people, so always willing to help, and I think that sort of should forge us or keep us in good stead going forward also.
No, I agree. And I also think that it doesn't limit creativity. When you have a
Yeah,
grassroots approach, kind of, possibilities are endless, right? You get all these ideas and these concepts and this innovation from multiple people, multiple aspects versus, a core centralized group saying, all right, this is how we need to do things. It needs to be developed this way. Obviously we have some structure and some, guardrails that, we work within just as kind of
yeah,
core principles. But outside of that, I mean, possibilities are endless. So, I mean, people can come in and they can, get as creative as they want. Obviously within, the possibilities of the blockchain, but
yeah.
it's not like you need to ask permission and say, can I do this? It's like, no, go out and build it,
Do it.
build it.
Yeah,
We're here to support you and, you know, have at it. Right. So, I mean, I think that that's also part of the beauty of Ergo is that it's just, it's never ending. Right. I mean, people can just go out there and, build as they want, as they wish. So,
yeah. Just quickly, a couple of shout outs here. We've got FC. So he's currently driving through Oklahoma tonight on the way to Muskogee. Am I saying that correct? In Turnpike. So how's crypto going to help Oklahoma? I think we touched on this last time about a number of different initiatives throughout the sort of the flyover states, as many call them in the US. Yes, a number of initiatives so that on the educational front, the agricultural front, mechanical front, industry, huge benefits throughout the industry there. Lucas just says, can't block, won't block, get block. Thanks, Luca, for the shout out. DS just says, ErgoPort. Shout out to DS and Jimmy. Agreed on what we've just been discussing. So thank you very much there. So let's jump into a little bit of ErgoPort. You give us a little bit of a rundown on what it actually is and your aim on the tooling to be able to provide the utility to the user.
Sure, no problem. So one of my big issues, and I'm sure a lot of new people to the crypto space, is that I couldn't stand that I had to have a wallet for ADA, a wallet for Ergo, for Erg, and the subcoins, and maybe something as well for ETH if I carried any of that. That just is something that you have to push down and just deal with. But so after getting over that, what I really couldn't deal was that CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, I could not see all of my sub tokens on the Ergo chain. They just weren't tracked. So at no point in time could I do a quick glance to say, hey, how much are my two Etosis worth or that kind of thing. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to try to make it for myself, and we'll see where this goes. So I decided to see what the backends look like. Luckily, Spectrum and a bunch of other places have these text-based API feeds that are just a data dump of everything. So I designed a database in the back end of a server that I spun up online at some European data center because it was nice and cheap. It is fast enough though. And what I do with this tool is I will go out to the Spectrum DEX, I'll go out to MinSwap, and I'll pull all the coins that I think were the top coins, or for Ergo, it's mainly a lot of them. And I'll scrape them every single minute. I'll just pull that and I'll dump it into my database.
Yep.
I'll also pull it every hour to get a 24-hour average, as well as a couple other things that I grab. So that was the base of it. I was just kind of pulling in all the information and seeing what I could do with it. Beyond that, you mind if I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, let me just move that. So that let me develop this kind of thing, which probably a lot of people that use my bot have no idea exists. So this is a sample portfolio. This is what it kind of started as. It was just a clear text, simple way of tracking your portfolio. You can see, this is not my portfolio. I really wish it was, but it's not. You can see your price in USD. You can see your price in the native token. You can see a simple total if you just want to keep it bookmarked on your phone, you know, if you kind of like to watch that. I know when I first came to the Ergo space, I felt it was taboo to talk about, you know, you're really watching the price every day, because everybody's so like diehard in the development of the community. But it is what it is. I want to watch the price of my portfolio, and I needed a way to do it.
Yeah.
So that's that. You can go, you can edit your data. Let's see if I remember that account's password. Yes. You can add plus data, and we'll get to this part later. And once you're done editing it, it comes back to here, and that's it. So that was ErgoPort. Just a portfolio for all those kind of coins that aren't tracked on CMC or CoinGecko. On top of that, I realized, hey, you know, a lot of people exist in the Telegram space. A lot of people exist in the Discord space. I see all these bots flying these price checks around all the time for that kind of thing. I have the data. Why don't I just try to build a bot?
Yep.
So, so I dove a little bit into Python. I found this site called Replit, which lets you host these little Python containers. And I put the front end of the bot essentially on those Python containers that reference back to the API for this site that you're seeing here. So all the hard work, all the computing, all the database Git pulls are being done to this pretty fast MySQL database where everything is stored. And what it does is, so if you look in here in the ErgoPort chat pricing channel, let's go. We can do EP-erg, for those of you who haven't seen, and we can be presented with the erg price, 24 rolling average, and 24 hours ago, the price was this, essentially a spot check. And I did this, I did these two numbers on purpose because I felt like the 24-hour percentage up and down price on CMC and CoinGecko that represents kind of throws you for, you know, unless you sit down and really think what that number means, it kind of gives you a false percentage, a false idea of where that coin's going and where it's coming from. So I said, okay, this 24 rolling average is, it's just going to roll the last 24 hours all into one number and give that to you. And then we'll do the spot check like the other places. And you'll notice it disappears too. This was in thanks to the mod at, at ErgoPod for, that was, who was that? Decay, who wanted all of them to disappear. So I did it on a global scale. 30 seconds, the bot disappears, cleans the chat, so your chat is not scattered with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it just gets spammed otherwise.
It does. But when I come back to ErgoPort, I notice that now all I see are the hourly miner checks, and I'm like, people are going to come to this and think that nobody's chatting on that. So I may let them stay in this chat specific kind of thing. So so building on top of that, I made graphs. So using that 24-hour data, we can look at a graph of erg. And this is using a module for the code that I write that simply passes all these numbers to the graph and spits it right out here. This as well drops down in 30 seconds. So it's not limited. It's not limited. Graph can be done on any coins. If I can type and talk at the same time, we can do a netograph. And we can see where that went. You can see a lot of them follow the erg, of course. So, so they're going to be pretty similar. We can go to, are we allowed to talk about ADA on this channel?
Of course.
Sure.
So that's basically the price aspect of this. Now, on top of that, somehow Rob joined my channel. I'm not sure why or when. He started asking some questions like, hey, can the bot do this? Can the bot do that? Kind of thing. And I said, oh, okay, let me try. So what you can
actually,
do...
just quickly, what's the channel for all the viewers?
Oh, sure. It's right here. It's ErgoPort. It's t.me/ErgoPort.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep. So what you can do is you can go to your site, the ErgoPort site, so you don't have to type in your address every time you search for something. If we edit our data again, if you type in your Git block or even Nano or Hero Mining, it works for all three except for the notification. The notifications are only from Git block. Put in your mining wallet address, put in your Telegram ID, You can also put on a notify percentage, and I can talk about that in a minute and show you some examples of that.
Yep.
And when you commit it, what the system does is it pulls twice an hour, it pulls the GitBlock API, which you guys were nice enough to supply me with, thank you. For every user that's designated a wallet in ErgoPort, and it collects their current hash rate. And then it checks it to the hash rate after that. And if it's gone up or down that percentage, which mine is obviously at 30%, so this 98% is going to trigger it, it pings you in this Telegram chat that, hey, your hash rate has changed.
Yep.
And on top of that, also, my data collects how many miners you have. So if you have three different rigs going, it'll put a number in the database that you have 3 rigs going, and then if it checks again in 30 minutes and you only have 2 rigs going, it pings you here that tells you it's down. See, here we go. It looks like you shut down your rig for the gig right now. Rob, is that what happened?
I think I just turned it back on, actually.
You turned it back. Oh, so you brought it
Yeah,
up. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, great. So that noticed a change in the count of his mining rig and a poster there. So you'll get 2 notifications depending on how it changes. But one thing I wanted to show, and I left these here for a reason, is my power went out last night.
Yep.
And even though the rig was up, and when I checked the GitBlock dashboard, it showed that I was at my little 450 hash rate. I would still be getting these hits every 30 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm like, and I thought to myself, okay, it's showing fine on the dashboard. Why am I getting these fluctuations so great? And I went downstairs where, the dark place where my mining rigs are. And sure enough, on the console, I saw a lot of red connection errors. So there was obviously something wrong with my machine during the power outage that caused internet connectivity that would mine for a little bit and then stop mining, then mine for a little bit and stop mining. So this was really handy to me to see there's something wrong. I need to go down and check it, as opposed to simply just going to the dashboard, seeing my number there, which would have been average, and saying, oh, it's okay, we'll just leave it, kind of thing. So that was helpful in that way.
Yeah, it's
so
a great utility for miners. I think obviously with Hive OS, you can set up notifications and bits and pieces throughout that piece of software. But this is fantastic for anyone, say, who operates Hive and doesn't want to have the email notifications and all of that sort of whatnot going on behind the scenes. But then also people on Windows, they often just run the bat file, and to be able to be out on the fly somewhere and get a notification, say that their hash rate's dropped for whatever reason, or even their rig's failed, like you just mentioned, like your little scenario there with the power, the connectivity issues, it just raises awareness and for you to go and check on, keep an eye on your rigs.
Yeah, you got it. That was the first thing that Rob said to me. He's like, oh, HiveOS will do this too. And I was like, why am I building this, Rob? And he said, oh, there's some people on Windows. And I was like me? And he's like, yeah, that maybe run a couple cards and that's it. And they don't want to put Linux, the HiveOS Linux on their rig and do that kind of thing. So I kept building it after he said that.
No, it's a great utility. I'll have to set it up for myself, to be honest, because I can see myself using it. And just like any sort of price checking, you can sit there and keep refreshing. But then also when you're out on the fly, you have that peace of mind where you don't have to sort of worry, and having that I can probably speak for all miners. You've got that little bit of niggle in the back of your mind about worrying if things are up and running and if your house hasn't burned down while you're out. And so little things like that, I think it's a fantastic utility.
So you can also, on top of that, you can also do a one-off check as well. So let's check out my rig, which on ErgoPort, portfolio number 9. So if I just type that in, it's going to give me a spit out of what happened. I must have broken the Python code when I was editing some other stuff. Or I'm typing it all in wrong.
Of course, it always happens when we're live.
Yeah.
I know, doesn't it? Let me see if I can find it very quickly. Essentially, it gives you an output exactly of what your rigs are doing. So it shows you rigs number 1, 2, 3. Actually, I have it right
There
here.
it goes. It actually popped up now. It must have just been a Telegram.
Oh, really? Really? It did? Oh,
Yep.
fantastic. There
There
we
you
go. Yeah. So there we go. So that's your miners right now, Rob.
Yep,
So there's
correct.
Rob's miners, and it shows that they're going kind of thing. So this is a um, quick little push you can do on Telegram to say, hey, are those things still running? You know, I don't want to wait for my hourly check or my half-hour check. Let's check that out, kind of thing. So
Yeah, awesome.
that's pretty helpful as well.
The cool
Yeah, it's
thing
nice
about all
to.
this utility is basically building all these little utilities. It might not seem like much, like you mentioned, like you had the discussion with Rob about Hive OS that has the notifications and things, but the tooling, if it's not there, people are sort of they're a little bit reluctant to speak up and sort of express their need or want for a little tool like this. So it's like I always say it's invaluable for the ecosystem because you could have someone jump on who maybe only have one GPU running and just dabbling in their first little toe into the depths of mining and just having this little sort of these tools and utilities. And I'm assuming it's open source also. Is that the case?
Yes, I have.
Yep.
I actually haven't pushed. I haven't
All
done a
right.
push to GitHub in a little bit, but yeah, the code there from maybe a month ago is all on GitHub. I just have to do another push to show the updated versions. But yes, it's all public. But it's
Yeah.
unfortunately for everybody else. The language that I know is a scripting language called Perl, which is quite
Yep.
old. So I don't know how useful it would be to many people, but they're welcome to take a look at it and see it for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that stays true to the ecosystem that anyone can pick this up and they could even port it to JS or Python, whatever. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. And the backend APIs that I feed off the website, they can take over from anything. They could
Yep.
hook up their own Python bot and just make calls to the API, and they'll get that fully formatted text that you like. They'll get these fully formatted texts like that right there, exactly like that, even with my little
Fantastic.
advertisement at the bottom.
You got to have a little
So
shout
yeah,
out there, don't you?
for sure. And I think this is good that you know, I write this specifically too for exactly like you said, for the person who has one card who looks at everything and is like, I don't want to run Hive, Hive OS or that kind of thing. How come the
Yeah.
cool tools are only built for the people that are, with 7 gigahash rates,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also nice to have the tool on demand, right? Where,
Yeah.
there are the Hive notifications. You need to wait for something to happen before before you see a notification. Here you can just, maybe you're in Telegram already, you're chatting with somebody, you could flip over, punch in your portfolio and boom, you can see where you stand, right? So, it's really nice to have that kind of instant gratification, right? You want your information, you want it now. You don't want even you may not even want to log in the Hive, right? And you just, type in a couple keywords and there you go. So to me, I love little tools like this. I think, just anyone who's kind of building tools and, has something that can benefit a miner, I think it's very valuable to, not only the miners themselves, but, the ecosystem as a whole, because it's not geared towards just one specific person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's kind of, I can see it being like obviously a trader. You can sit there and you can hit refresh on whatever app you're using to monitor prices and things. This is the same sort of drug and addiction for a miner. Just hitting refresh and checking your hash rate and making sure everything's up and running. So you can do that, multiple times and just have that little dopamine fix. We just got a
Yes.
question here from FC. Do they have to mine to a certain pool? You did mention a couple there earlier, but just wasn't sure if it's any erg pool or just the ones that you specifically said.
So yeah, so on GitBlock you can mine to any of the subpools. Yep, that's fine. But on I'm only scraping the sites for Nano, Hero Mining, and GitBlock. And depending on what, and honestly, I haven't reached out to Nano or Hero Mining yet to get their actual API. So I am doing a dirty HTML scrape from their web page. So the information that I get from there is not quite as robust as GitBlock, and that's not just because GitBlock is awesome, but it's just because I'm doing a dirty HTML scrape off the pages. But yeah, so if more people want to use this, I can reach out to Nano and Hero and get their API feed to see if I can grab those a little cleaner with more information for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for that clarity. Jimmy just has another little quick comment. It's really cool to check this out. So they made something similar with much less feature-rich tool for himself or their self for Cardano. So this obviously sort of scrapes the min swap, I believe, that you mentioned earlier.
You got it. Yep, it scrapes
so-
min swap. I started out with the top 10 tokens there, and then I think I've added maybe 5 to 6, 7 more, depending on people requesting it for that kind of thing. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Is there anything else
Yeah.
you want to elaborate on?
Yeah, I mean the tool just keeps getting added to and added to. Remember, because this is just data that we're scraping, and then we just find a way to display it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it gets us. Let's see if this will pull. So we can, yeah, there we go. You type in a Sky Harbor NFT, and it shows you the info on that NFT that's hosted on Sky Harbor. So it's just a quick way to, maybe not so useful, but it's in text form. It's easy to spit that kind of thing out right there. And beyond this as well, I'm working with some of the Aneta BC folks and GitBlock, of course, to build some APIs in the background to feed them data. Essentially, I scrape every night Angel, the wallets that are holding Aneta Angels from the Cardano side and the Ergo side. So I scrape that every night, and I have that as a feed push to available for GitBlock as well. I don't think we can talk about that, can we? Rob,
Soon. No, you're
Soon.
good. Yeah.
So there's some more phases coming up with rewards based on NFTs, of course. So that API is giving to GitBlock so they can determine what those rewards will be based on, your holding type of Aneta Angels. So there's that feed that grew out of it, and then of course I built a checker for those fees as well, so somebody can ping the bot and say, hey, what would my GitBlock rewards be for the Neta pool with this wallet? And it looks through your wallet, it says, oh, you have 4 NFTs, here's the rewards based on those 4 NFTs at the GitBlock mining subpool Neta, and it gives it to you out, and it also shows you what your payouts are for the next 9 airdrops. So just these kind of tools just keep on building up as more people come into the chat, and I meet people and they say, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's really, really hard to say no.
Yeah, that gravitational force has you well and truly.
It's terrible. And then they challenge you, like, what's his name again? Decay was like, oh, if it's too hard for you, I understand, and that's just it. I can't handle that.
You don't sleep for the next 4 nights, and you have everything running.
Yeah. Power went out at 1 a.m. last night, and I was really upset because I was just about ready to finish saving the code, but I couldn't test it.
Oh, spewing. That's the joys of the ecosystem, like just little bits of banter like that. And personally, I see that as a challenge also. I always take it on the chin, and it's like, I'm definitely going to take advantage of this and prove someone wrong because I see it as a challenge, and challenge accepted.
Exactly. I think I worked for, Python's not my strong suit. It's not even my weak suit. It's a little, whatever it's below that kind of thing. It's me just recognizing where things should go and trying it. So when they wanted the vanishing, the bots in the ErgoPad channel, I stuck at it for a day and a half probably until I finally got it, and it was well worth it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that was a stipulation for adding my bot to his channel, that it had to vanish. So I thought it was very important to focus on that for a little bit.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Great. Well, thank you very much for that rundown. It's a fantastic little utility. So by all means, so what's your website if anyone wants to check that out?
Sure. It's my.ergoport.dev.
Yep. So by all means, jump on there and start playing and tinkering, and jump onto, was it t.me/ErgoPort?
Yeah, and on the help page on my.ergoport.dev is the Telegram link too, so you can get right to there from there as well. Yep.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for that rundown. So, Rob, what's going on your side? Obviously, you did say soon. I think that should be our trademark slogan for this live stream, because he keeps hinting at little bits and pieces and leaving me in suspense, and so I may as well just have soon plastered across the overlay.
Probably just right under my face, just put soon, and we'll make it just kind of blow up every time you ask me a question.
Yeah, exactly. I need
No,
to set that up actually.
I could give you a couple updates. So, we were just talking about Neta phase 3 actually. So, little hiccups there, I would say. I would say really more on the testnet side of things. So Ergo testnet has been a little bit wonky for the past few weeks. So we actually went out and we built our own test net. We called it BlockNet. So, Karad or Cheese Enthusiast did a great job with that, working with, again, some community members, within the ecosystem
Yeah.
that's been built out. And we're actually in process of testing right now. So we just need to test one more piece. We hope to have phase 3 launched here in the next few days. So more to come soon, but that's where we stand today. I'm feeling really good that we'll get this out by end of this week, hopefully. So that's where we stand there. So more to come on that, but yeah, we're finally getting to a point where we can launch that.
Yeah, fantastic. And you've actually released your article for the quad mining that we touched on last week. So if anyone wants any more information on that, by all means, jump onto the GetBlock site and see that blog post.
Yeah, no, that was just released. So it seems a lot of people are very interested in that. So, get out there, take a look at it, and split up your rig and mine a few coins at once.
It's a cool concept because it's such a simple concept, but it allows so many possibilities. So even if, like, say, there is a FIMO launch, that's what
FEMO. FEMO.
FIMO launch.
Yeah.
Sorry, FIMO launch. Then obviously you might not sort of want to speculate too much on that coin, but you can chuck a couple of cards or even rigs on there and keep the majority of your hash somewhere else, and it's just easy to manage it all through Hive OS or even through Windows for that instance.
Yeah, it's very easy to turn on, turn off, so you can jump around, you can stick with one coin. It's really there just to give you options. So
Yeah, fantastic. So QX, what do you see happening with the ETH merge? I'd like to hear it from someone who isn't sort of big in the mining side of things. I would dare say, like you are a home miner. I think that's pretty fair to say. What's your thoughts on everything sort of that's going to be happening in post merge?
You're really putting me on the spot here, aren't you?
That's the job.
So, of course, all speculation, but I think we can all hope that the merge completely succeeds. The worst
Exactly.
case would be that a massive failure, and then who knows, tipping the bucket on that, what that would affect all the rest of the crypto ecosystems there. So I think everybody's hoping for a successful merge. I think what we saw honestly, I'll try not to speak too freely about this, but we had some miners come over that jumped into the Ergo eco space, and I think they were a little shocked at not the difficulty, but that it wasn't the same as ETH, and there were some things you had to do
Yeah.
differently. So Rob and I and a couple other people were helping them out today,
Yeah.
and I think we're going to get a huge, from the community side, I think we're going to get a big influx of that. So there's going to be a lot of new users who are expecting just a turnkey, that it's going to work exactly like ETH mining, but with something as nuanced as GitBlock, where they have these amazing options: quad mining, subpool mining. It's you need to have a little bit of thought involved when you pull that trigger on those kind of things. So I think from that aspect of it, I think we need to prepare for that influx, and perhaps, I think I mentioned in the ErgoPad chat that I was going to try to just give a simple YouTube video of what it looks like now with the subpools of GitBlock, and adding your rig to it and making sure it works, kind of thing, so that, hey, there's an issue, let's fire this over there. I think we need to be prepared for that at least. But on the technical monetary side, I feel with Ergo, with Erg and the Ergo ecosystem, from my experience of only being in here for a year and a half, is if the wind blows, the price just starts skyrocketing. So it's so sensitive at these lower levels of $3 and $4 that I'm super excited to see what's going to happen in the merge when that happens. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you touched on the education side of it's really important because there are some intricacies and nuances between mining ETH and Ergo itself. Now, obviously, the algorithms are significantly different and they utilize different parts of a GPU. So just keeping that education and that conversation, that door open, being able to converse and just talk through these solutions because obviously if you do sort of switch over directly with your overclocks onto Ergo, you might not have the most efficiency for your mining rig. So yeah, you can just work through that. And we've got the Ergo spreadsheet that's been put together. So that's a good starting point also. And yeah, if anyone does have any questions, by all means, reach out to any of the mining community members and everyone will be more than willing to help out.
Yeah, and I see there's some new tooling that may be coming out. I forget it, Mine Ergo IO or Ergo Mine IO, something like that. And
Yeah.
they're building something where, it'll be a little bit more user friendly. It'll be more of a UX based
Yep.
or a UI based experience where a miner could log on and put in their cards. It kind of, takes all that data that's actually in the spreadsheet and some other data points
Yep.
and kind of pulls all that together. So I think it's an interesting project. I'm excited to see that one come to life as well.
Yeah, that one's Mine Ergo, so minergo.com, I believe, or .io. I'm not too sure of what
Yeah.
what it is. So yeah, by all means, once that's up and active, that'll be a fantastic resource for the community.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, we might wrap that up. We've been going on now for near on 40, 50 minutes or so. Is there any last words that you want to have just in summarizing everything here?
No, for me, I just, again, I'm happy to see, some of these tools being built on Ergo. I think, sometimes, less is more, right? And, some of these smaller tools really go a long way. And, as you see, it starts off as just an idea and, it's happened to a lot of us, right? For personal use, and it just kind of snowballs into, how can I support the ecosystem more? So no, it's really great to see these things.
Yeah, fantastic. And yourself, QX?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, I think just to put it out there that again, this is something I'm building, first for myself, but then of course for anybody that wants to use it. So even if nobody wants to use my bot or anything like that, the API clean text feeds are still sitting there on my website that people can find right now without me even knowing, and feed them right into their bot kind of thing. So feel free to contact me if anything, if you want to use that, or feel free to put some more suggestions in the ErgoPort pricing chat so that I can lose more sleep at night trying to solve some issues that I didn't have before.
Exactly. Let's throw him under the bus. Turn him into an insomniac.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you very much for this tooling, and it's great to see it evolve over time. Obviously, we've seen how GetBlock can evolve. It just started as an Ergo hack idea, and look what they're doing now. They're building layer 2 scaling solutions. Like, who would have thought where this would end up? And that's just sort of the tip of the iceberg also.
Once you get in, you can't get out. You just keep you keep building, and it becomes something that you never thought you would you would create once you started it. And it's cool to see, and I knowing a lot of the project owners, it's where a lot of us kind of started, right? It was like we starting with tooling, or the ecosystem had a gap, and here we are, right? We see all these things coming to life, so really cool to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting so compact for me in the bot commands that I have to actually now write myself a list of all the commands that I programmed for the bot, so I remember, so that if I type in graph erg, that it's not triggering the erg kind of price check, and it's actually writing the graph. So that's getting a little too complex for me, where I had to sit down and actually graph it all out for myself.
Fantastic, gentlemen. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting once again. By all means, I'll probably reach out to you, and we might host another video from my private sort of side of things also. So it's been a pleasure chatting to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for all the viewers for tuning in. It's been a wonderful time chatting today.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, CW. Take care.
Take care. Have a good one, guys.